10 past and get started.
So the chairman will give you a call when we're ready to go on the air.
Couple more minutes.
Is Erica coming, Dan?
I don't know that.
I didn't. I figured Rose and Ann would be here and Dana.
I wonder if there might be something happening downtown.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and get started then. Okay, call this meeting in session. And we do not have a secretary today, I believe, so I'll do the roll call.
There he is.
Good.
Where am I? Over there.
Saved by the bell.
I apologize.
No problem. Was there something downtown or?
No, I just got home from work.
Work.
And Roseanne is sick, so she won't be here.
Okay.
And I hate this chair. Who switch with me?
Want to switch? Yeah, switch with that one. Okay.
No, it's okay. It's a low chair. We might over council level too.
Are they adjustable?
Yeah, but nobody's figured it out yet.
We wanted it to come up?
Roll
Yeah.
call.
That could be my
Mrs.
roll.
Quinlan,
It usually slides
Rich
right
Cohen,
there.
Richard Shelton,
Yeah.
doing a roll call. Dana Glennon,
Here.
and Dick Carr.
Here.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
if I could introduce Diane Hardy, our new planner,
please.
to the board.
Oh, she looked familiar.
Hi. How are
Hi,
you?
Diane. Fine, how are
Nice to
you?
see you all. As I mentioned to the chairman earlier, I'm looking forward to working with you all, and if there's anything I can assist you with, please let me know.
I do need to speak to you afterwards.
Okay, very good.
I would like to appoint Dick Carr to the board. We do have a 5-member board now.
Thank you.
Leo, not here.
First order of business is reviewing the minutes from July 17th, 2006.
I've reviewed all the meetings and I don't have any corrections. I don't know if anybody else has.
I wasn't here.
Find any need for corrections, Mrs. Quinlan?
No, I do not.
Well, I'd like to accept the minutes of July 17th as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Should have to be here.
Oh, okay.
A second.
All right, I'm good at second. That's what I do
Mr.
best.
Quinlan's got a,
Would you like to second that motion to accept July 17th minutes?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, raise your right hand and say no. Okay. So the minutes for July 17th are approved. Continuing on to regular business, and I would like to have Mr. Benson read the case tonight and add any comments that he would have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the notice reads, you are hereby notified of a zoning board of adjustment hearing to be held at 7 p.m. on Monday, September 11th, 2006, in the town council chambers of the town hall, concerning a request by Jean M. Brown for a special exception, reference section 7.03 of the Newmarket zoning ordinance. The applicant requests a special exception to permit an accessory apartment. The lot is located at 191 Ash Swamp Road, tax map R4, lot 42-21 in the R1 zone. In the past, we've had not only some problems with accessory apartments, but it resulted in a committee to be formed to come up with the rules and regulations for the zoning ordinance and the permitting of accessory apartments. The premise, which was originally held for accessory apartments, was that if a couple was raising 3 or 4 children in a larger home, and the children moved out, it was the intent of the town to provide a means for maintenance on the property, for the use of existing space, and the ordinance was designed so that the available space could be used for a single 1-bedroom apartment, which would be inclusive of bathroom, kitchen, bedroom area. The criteria for that may be different than what it is now. Right now, the accessory apartment, according to what the language in the ordinance indicates that it minimum 300 square feet and shall not be greater than 800 square feet. But the point is that it was to be within an existing structure. And what happened in abuse of that structure was that additions were being put onto the existing structure and then converted over into an apartment, which now led to duplexes being built in a single-family residential area rather than the true concept of this accessory apartment to assist those people who had larger homes with families that had gone into use the available space. So the committee looked at it, and as a result, we have the new ordinance here. And at the time, how do you determine what is an existing building or what is an existing structure? The determination at that time was made, although it's not in print in the ordinance itself, was and we use that same formula here at the zoning board, was that if a structure was existing for a year and somebody went in and built an accessory apartment in that space, then it was considered to be existing. And therefore, moving through the criteria for the special exception, if the applicants met that criteria, then the special exception was granted. And I want to say again that we don't have, that is not part of the written ordinance. Why it is not, I don't know that. But I think that this poses several problems for us. And I think it's a social problem where we have, in this case, the applicant has a large piece of land, they have a large home, they've recently just received, it's been under construction for a year, approximately the end of July, the CO was issued for occupancy. And now we have the applicant here before us this evening asking if we can convert that addition into an apartment, or an accessory dwelling, I should say. When we look at the reasoning for this, the applicant is here this evening because they're one of the couple, I think it's Jean's mother, is good evening, is here this evening because they're providing a shelter for her mother rather than a nursing home or old age home or continued living. And I think we've got to ask ourselves, what is the right thing to do here? You know, there's not too many alternatives. And when we see this, all the ordinance tells us is that no exterior changes shall be made which significantly alters the appearance of the structure from the street. So in this case, they rebuilt this addition to the house, which is certainly permitted by the code. Now they want to convert it into a space for Jean's mother where she can have her own bedroom, her own kitchen, her own bathroom, and her own living space. So prior to this point when we were discussing it had to be there for a year, it's not actually in the language of the ordinance. So if you would keep that in mind this evening, it's just to bring you up to date on why we have this new ordinance, what language may or may not be missing in the ordinance, and certainly if the criteria is met for the special exception under 7.03, then as the language of the ordinance reads, then the permit shall be granted.
I got a question.
Yes,
In
sir.
your opinion, do you believe that the 6 criteria have been met? And if not, why not? But
That's actually my question,
Yeah,
too.
what we should do, yeah, what we should do, it's probably run it through, why don't we go through the 7 criteria, and you can add comment to each one.
I will do that.
Just start out with first.
Yes.
I have another question.
Yeah.
What happens to this unit when it becomes vacated by Jean's mother?
The accessory apartment does not limit the person that is to occupy the space or persons to occupy the space.
Does not have to be a relative.
It does not, but what the language of the ordinance reads is that one dwelling unit has to be owner occupied. And just to further that question, certainly stipulations could be put on any decision this board makes that would say that at some future time it wouldn't become a rental unit, that it would have to remain an accessory structure to a family member or another member, however you want to word that. But the original accessory apartment was to provide a dwelling unit for anybody that may want to come to the residence and rent it. In this case, this residence was built for Jean's mother to live in because of her age, elderly, and it was probably the best decision they could make.
Dana?
Yeah, oh, can I ask? Or you want me to wait?
Yes.
Oh. The question I had was, the verbiage that's not in the ordinance, you said for us to keep it in mind, and you're not sure why it's not there. If it's not there, then how can it become relevant to the issue?
I think that that one-year terminology was used only as a way to determine, to say that it was existing or pre-existing or new. And for some reason, the board in the past has looked at the 1 year,
Now, which board? This board?
this zoning board, yes, on earlier applications of this board for accessory apartments.
So when you're saying the dwelling, their original home, or is it the accessory that's been added that has to have that 1 year criteria met?
It would have been, the addition to the house would have had to have been in existence for 1 year prior to an applicant coming before this board and asking for it to be converted into an accessory apartment.
I think we have to keep in mind too, it's a case by case.
Right,
In some
right.
cases, that may not apply.
Right.
We've gotten away from precedent,
Mhm.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
I don't think that there should be a 1 year precedent in anybody's
Yeah,
mind.
that's
It's a case by
what I'm
case.
concerned about, too.
Every applicant coming up here would be,
So we do have that flexibility.
Well, you not only have the flexibility, but if you stay to the strict language of the ordinance, then that 1 year doesn't even become part of your consideration.
Not here.
right.
Because it's not in print.
Okay.
This is, my first time here, and so I'm not sure that my comment here is going to be appropriate. But before we lived in Newmarket, we lived in Stratham. And the neighborhood that we lived in had a couple of dozen very nice homes in it. And there were several, 2 or 3 at least that I can think of, that had accessory apartments, but they were limited to family members or something of that nature. And that was really the only way that they were accepted by the neighborhood.
I think this is a zoning issue more than a neighborhood.
Right. No, but-
Until it goes to the public meeting, but I think we've already went over that. Either one of the dwelling units must be occupied by the owner.
Right.
So whether it be the accessory apartment or whether it be the primary dwelling unit, one of them would have to be, or else they would go under.
No, but as Dan said, the idea of facilitating having a place for your parents to live with you, which I think is something that used to be done far more than it is now, and I think it should be commendable and should be facilitated in any way possible to encourage that. But I don't think you should go out of your way to use this as a means for turning a single-family unit into a duplex. And language should be possibly considered that would not allow that.
Where you have one person that's related to another, or the owner living there as a primary, I guess it doesn't completely take care of that problem, but I think it helps.
Yeah.
See, just another thing to add to this is a dwelling unit is a unit where you can cook your food, keep your food in the refrigerator to keep it safe to eat, and bathe. So all of those things that you can do in that accessory unit, if you take away one of those, it's no longer an accessory unit, it's just an addition. So if you took the cook stove out of this unit, it's no longer an accessory unit, it's just an addition.
Do you or do you not have to have a door between the primary and the accessory?
The door is not of the question,
Okay.
not relevant. Because they do have to be attached, and there has to be a common space that is shared by both the accessory and the primary dwelling, so that in this case, this addition, this dwelling unit was originally put on as an addition, and it does have a common space attached to both of these units.
If I could, I'd like to offer this thought. I see just two reasons why somebody would do an accessory apartment. Number one would be exactly what these folks would
Yeah.
like to do. And number two would be if, once somebody does that and the individual passes away, the second reason why they would want to do that is to help cover the cost of the taxes.
Exactly.
Those are the only two reasons why I could think, so,
And that is part of the language in the ordinance. And I think in the past, it's probably been abused by somebody putting on an addition and,
well, wouldn't that be your job to enforce that? I mean, to look at that and say, hey, look, you're not in compliance here. Let's not punish everybody else.
right, whatever the language is in the zoning ordinance, I try to enforce.
Yeah,
I do enforce, I should say.
yeah. No, I'm not saying you don't, but I
Yeah.
mean, that would be, let's not punish everybody else for.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, let's go.
Yeah, why don't we go through, does anybody, I think there was a question that came up, which of the 7 criteria that need to be met, if there were any that do not completely apply, or?
Would you like me to read through these?
Sure.
The,
That's what you-
Yeah, I'd like them to.
Yep.
through 7.03
Each one.
of the accessory apartments, which was amended September 1st, 2004, after the committee's review of accessory apartments, indicates what the purpose is, indicates that one accessory apartment shall be permitted per single detached family. The criteria for the special exception is, in 1, the accessory apartment shall be a minimum of 300 square feet, a maximum of 800. The applicant complies with that. Item 2 is the accessory apartment shall either be an efficiency apartment without a separate bedroom or a one-bedroom apartment, and the applicant complies with that. One of the dwelling units must be owner-occupied. The applicant complies with that. Number 4 is there shall be a minimum of 2 parking spaces for each dwelling unit. A parking space shall be defined as a rectangular space 9 by 18. Parking spaces shall be permitted within the setbacks if the location is over 50 feet from the abutting dwelling units. The applicant complies with that. The item number 5 is no exterior changes shall be made which significantly alters the appearance of the structure from the street. And I guess that would be the one that the board may want to discuss, as the vision from the street is the primary structure, which is 1840 farmhouse with a large barn attached, New England style farmhouse. There was a connecting shed from the back of the house that went to the shed but not connected to the barn. The shed was demolished. The new structure was completed on the footprint where the existing shed was. So I guess that is now for the board's decision, if it's significantly altered or not. I would say structurally and architecturally that it probably was not significantly
The
changed
shed was
because
probably
it
the
was
fault.
there before.
Well, I think if 50 people rode by the road, 49 of them wouldn't know any difference in that house.
And maybe the shed was gonna fall apart anyways.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not our concern.
No. So, okay.
So that's to the board for discussion. Or should I continue, Mr. Chairman?
Oh, we'll just go right through.
The number 6 is adequate water supply and sewage disposal shall be provided. If town water and sewer services, the site tie-in fees shall be paid. The water supply is provided by well, and the sewage disposal is by septic, and the applicants do have a recently designed septic design to replace the existing, in the event the existing fails.
Can you go over that with the board, how that works with respect to adding a bedroom to an insufficient system? How they see it?
Be glad to. If we were out shopping for a house and we came across a house that had 3 bedrooms and was on a septic system, that's what the state permits us to have because of the size of the tank and the size of the field. It's discovered during the review of this through the zoning ordinance files or the files within town hall or through the state that there's 4 bedrooms in this house on a 3-bedroom design septic system. What the state allows to happen is the applicant can move forward to a septic designer to design a septic system capable of a 4-bedroom septic design system. Once that design is in hand, the 3-bedroom design system is allowed to continue until failure. And in the event that that system should fail, then the applicant has immediately in hand a document it can turn over to one of licensed installer that can move forward and put in the 4-bedroom septic design immediately without having to wait through the design process, through the approval process of the state, which could take 2 months to 3 months on occasion. So in this case, what the applicants have done is they have moved forward to a septic designer. The design was submitted to the state did approve it, and the applicants do have that design in hand.
So,
So that criteria would be met as well.
number 7.
And number 7, granting of the special exception would be consistent with 105A2. And we're talking about non-conforming. And specifically, we're talking about A2. This is to deal with single-family houses in an area where it is not a permitted use, and in this case, it is a permitted use. Single-family residential use is a permitted use. But it may not be a permitted use for a duplex, but this is not what we're looking at as being a duplex. This is a single-family dwelling with an accessory apartment.
Do any board members have any questions or comments for building inspector?
No, other than, those are the things that we have to go through on this form, right?
No, you don't even use that form.
Oh.
No, the form in
It's a
this one apply the
variance.
Oh, it's just
criteria
a
for the
variance.
special
I don't know what
exception.
that
and all
is.
that.
Right.
It's a permitted use.
Mhm.
It needs to fit these 7 criteria. If it doesn't fit any of these 7 criteria, it's denied. If it does fit, it's permitted.
So basically, you just said everything meets.
My opinion, it does, but
I have no problem with it.
I don't have any problem with
I'd like
that.
to open up the public hearing. If there's, the applicants, we just need your name, address,
The podium.
to step up to the podium.
Yeah, you do have to do that.
Most everything's already been said, I know. Is there anything you'd like to add, or
My name is Jean Brown, and I live at 191 Ash Swamp Road. And as Dan said, this is an accessory apartment for my mom. We have no intention of ever renting it, because we don't want anyone else living in our family home. It's the home that my mom grew up in, so she's coming home essentially. And essentially, at this point, with the addition that we have on to change our addition into an in-law apartment, will be no changes from the front at all. So, you know, in my opinion, we've met all the criteria that have been set forth, and we're hoping that we'll get a go for this. Do you have any questions for me? Thank you.
No,
thank you very much. Are there any members of the public that oppose?
I don't oppose, I just
Okay.
want to offer some information. I'm Diane Hardy, I'm the town planner. I just wanted to share with you my experience in Merrimack. They allowed what they called accessory dwelling units, ADUs, in all residential districts, and they had restrictions on the number of bedrooms. You can only have 1 bedroom. Couldn't be greater than 1,000 square feet. And their requirements were such that it had to be available to a family member, and that could be a mother, an aging mother, or father, it could be a child. And in order to implement this, one of the standard conditions on the issuance of special exceptions for ADUs was that there be covenants filed with the Register of Deeds that actually made sure, there's a legal document that made sure that that unit would be forever rented out to a family member, because they too were concerned about the units being conveyed and rented out and creating a duplex situation, which Dan has indicated was a concern of the town. So I just wanted to share that information with you for what it's worth, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
With a situation like that, would it be something, like, say this application came 10 years ago, and the applicant, the house has been sold, people come in front of the town, that there may be I guess the records may not come out to show that.
Well, it's a deed restriction that's filed with the Register of Deeds, and any time someone does a title search on the property, that would show up as being a restriction. And technically, that unit would have to forever be rented out or made available to a family member. And if not, then it would have to revert back to its original state.
If
And there was a monitoring that took place, periodically of the files, when building permit applications came in and so forth. So it was something that was enforced by the code
If the
enforcement
zoning
officer.
changed, would that dissolve the,
If the zoning changed, depending upon what the change was, certainly, it would, but it would become a grandfathered situation. But if it was more liberal, then the more liberal zoning would apply. You have a question?
But, yeah, currently, we don't have that as a stipulation, so we don't need to be concerned about it. You're just
No,
giving us
you're
a-
not, you don't have it in your ordinance,
Right,
that is
okay.
correct. However, and I think one of the board members said, well, we could, perhaps impose that as a condition on the
Yeah,
approval.
I would
think
be
Mr.
concerned
Vincent
about
suggested that. And if you wanted to do so,
Yeah.
and for this application or in the future, one of the mechanisms would be the filing of these covenants at the Register of Deeds. I just wanted to point that out to you.
I'm concerned about doing that only in the sense that, like I said before, number one, we're not a city, we're not like Merrimack and the Nashua area, which I can see why they would not want to do that. However, we're more rural, and I would prefer to keep it the way it is now, so in the event that, you sell the house or whatever, who else, not just you, but somebody else does the same thing and decides because the taxes are so high, they would like to have that flexibility of renting that out to help cover the cost. That's where my mind is going with that whole thing, rather than putting a restriction on it saying it has to be a family member. But I can understand
It
the
certainly is
process,
the
how you
prerogative
could
of
do
the
that,
board,
yeah.
certainly.
That's
I just wanted
enlightening.
to share the
Yep,
information.
that's
with you.
enlightening how that would work. I never thought about it that way. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, could I comment?
I kind of disagree with that idea from the standpoint that you're in effect facilitating the creation of duplexes. I mean, it's a two-step process. One, you get somebody who's a family member to begin with, and then they sell it, and now it becomes a duplex. Do you want to perpetuate that concept in the future as
Well,
chain reaction sort of thing?
Well, this will always be the same size. You couldn't increase it, though, could you?
No, but you could have somebody who's unrelated renting from the, I mean, it's in effect a duplex. I mean, it's two units. It could become like two separate units on the same
It's not a
property.
legal duplex.
No, I wouldn't think it would be either.
It's a legal, how would you describe that? It would be a.
In-law apartment.
Yeah, an accessory apartment,
Right.
a primary dwelling.
It's not, this ordinance does not refer to it as a
Limited
in-law
scope.
apartment or and specifically the purpose of this ordinance, and I'll read it for you, is accessory apartments are permitted in certain districts to ensure adequate provision of small, affordable residential units for various segments of the population, and specifically to help homeowners utilize excess space to generate revenue, to help offset the cost of home ownership, and to encourage the adaptive reuse of historic homes. So rather than the Merrimack purpose, our purpose specifically talks about revenue.
Right.
If
Yeah.
it meets these 7 criteria, there's no reason the board should not approve this application. It's a permitted use
It was a good question, though.
with these 7 being fulfilled.
And in my opinion, they've met the 7.
Yeah.
I don't know how the rest of the board
That's,
feels.
Then, we'll do the motion
Huh?
and. if everybody agrees, and-
I'll make a
Is-
motion.
Is there anybody who opposes this application? Members from the public? Public hearing is closed.
I'll make a motion. Having met the criteria of the Town of Newmarket zoning ordinance, Section 703B 1 through 7, for a special exception that we grant the applicant's request to permit an accessory apartment. The lot is located at 191 Ash Swamp Road, tax map R4 Lot 42-21 in the R1 zone.
Could we add a finding of fact to it that they have met?
Okay, with the finding of fact, we have met the criteria
They have met the
as
criteria.
following.
I'll second that.
They have,
All those in favor signify by raising your right hand and saying aye.
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 All those opposed?
Seconded.
I did.
Thank you. Helping Dan out with the minutes here, since we don't have a recording section.
There is a 30-day appeal period,
There is.
so you might consider that there is a 30-day appeal period where if you do any, people have the right to appeal the board's decision within 30 days. So you may want to keep that in mind if you start putting in a kitchen. If somebody appeals and the board grants the appeal, and the appeal does end up going through, then you may have a problem that way.
They don't.
All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
It's 30 days from today?
It would be tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Day after.
Tomorrow's date.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night.
Thanks for coming in.
Moving right on to our,
Mr. Chairman, if I could just comment.
oh, yes.
Certainly, there's, to determine whether or not it's an acceptable use under the criteria, I think that in this case is a perfect example, is a family wants to take care of their family, and sometimes it becomes restrictive. And like you say, what do? Do you make it the law that when the family member passes over that you can't use the unit anymore? Probably not.
You
Oh,
need to
well.
anticipate what it could be used for in the future is the only thing. If you don't object to that, then so be it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't read something into our zoning that's not there,
No,
though.
no. And I'm just,
Yeah.
you know.
No, I think
It's
you
not
got
there.
I think you were satisfied with that clarification that you read, but I can understand where Peyton's coming from, is because if the square footage was larger than the 800 square feet, then I could see a bedroom being added and other things being added, and then forming that duplex. But the restrictions are 300 by 800, so you really can't do much in there. In fact, I don't even know how big that bedroom's gonna be.
Pretty small.
Yeah.
I'm against it, but the ordinance says for income. So once it says income, I
Yeah.
mean, you're either gonna charge your mother-in-law.
Right. True, good point.
Yeah.
Good
It's a
point.
great way to do exactly what the ordinance has allowed it to do, like accommodate special family needs, like,
Or not, or just go out and use it as an enterprise.
if there's money to be made, somebody's doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's hard to get. Any other comments, questions, discussion? I'd like to move on to other business. At this point, we'll be reviewing and discussing comments, suggestions brought by board members for updating the rules and procedures.
You know, I would think we should wait till Roseanne and Leo are here before we get into that.
I
And
would
put it
agree.
off till
I would
the
agree.
next meeting. I would think.
Make a motion.
Do we have any, anything, seems like everybody agrees?
The only question I have on that, do you have suggestions already being given that people gave?
I don't have any drastic decisions.
Okay, I just wanted, because I missed the last meeting, I thought if somebody had passed them in and you had given them out.
We haven't done a
Okay.
thing with it.
All right,
other
that's all
than-
I want. I would agree with Richie here that I think it should be postponed.
Yeah, till you have the full board and Roseanne here and Leo here,
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah.
May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we delay discussing the comments and suggestions for rules of procedure until our next meeting.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by raising their hand and saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It's unanimous. Any other discussion? I think we can adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we
What?
adjourn. Hold it, 1 minute.
One question. What about these seminars?
Oh, good point.
I intend to go. Anyone else going?
I would like to go.
Are they in the evening? I can't remember.
No, all day Saturday. Well, not all day. 3
I
o'clock.
work Saturdays, so that's gonna leave me out.
Well, the one in Newington is from 7 to 9. Well, the three that are in Newington is from 7 to 9. The first is on procedural basics for planning and zoning boards. The second is on environmental permitting, the role of local officials. And the third is road access to the municipal planning process.
Oh, it's this one we have right here. I thought it
This
was-
one here, this one
I
here.
got another
This
one
is
over
on
there.
this
Yeah, that's where the other ones are.
There's two flyers. The one I'm reading right now is the one of municipal law.
Yeah,
I understand that this is paid for by the town, and it also contributes to continuing education if you're on, you have a state license for, as a real estate broker,
Mhm.
or
Oh, yeah, the municipal law series do, yes.
an attorney,
Yeah.
or so on and so forth.
Yes.
It doesn't count for Massachusetts architectural license.
Okay, so
Doesn't?
is the first one September?
yeah, but it's up at the
October
Oh.
25th. is-
Oh.
Highland Center in Crawford Norge.
Okay, so first
Many
one,
positive
No.
aspects.
November 8th is in Newington.
Newington.
That's the one you go
so
to.
we're gonna go to the lecture 2, October 25th, and then go to lecture 1 on November 8th? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
they- Well, they stagger them.
Oh,
at
okay.
different
They're not in
locations the
sequential
state.
order, like you should go to
No,
one first and then
no,
go,
no.
okay, that's what I thought. All right, November
confusion.
8th, does that pose a problem with the council? Probably does.
There's also
Calendar right
one that's
Big one.
the
The
OEP,
calendar right behind
that's
it.
separate from these,
That's separate, yeah. The other one is put on by the Office of Energy and Planning.
right?
They have 2 workshops a
That's
year,
on a
one in the
Wednesday,
fall,
yeah.
one in
When-
the spring.
That's not a problem, I can go to that one. November 8th. October, well, November 1st, I wouldn't be able to make it, that's a council meeting. And October 25th is the other one? That one I can make. Yeah, I would say, let's go.
Everyone fill out the form and we can make arrangements to
Are you
register
going?
you for the
I'd
class.
probably go to this, the zoning one,
The zoning one?
November 8th. Yeah, I'd probably go to that one. Okay.
And we'll send in the registration fee, so when you get there, you'll be all set.
So we're talking about going just to the one in Newington, right?
Yeah, I don't think I want to go to Manchester or Jaffrey or
No, no, I
Hamilton.
don't.
Well, Mr. Quinn,
Yeah, I'm talking about the Waterville Valley one,
is that the
conference center.
closest to our location, Waterville Valley?
Seems,
Well, that's the other one.
That's the one that's on Saturday, Dan.
Yeah, that's an all-day
That's a
Saturday.
different one.
yeah.
It's 2 different seminars.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
the law lectures, which are in Newington. That's
Right.
the closest location. Then there's the statewide conference that's put on by the Office of Energy and Planning, and that's on a Saturday. It's a 1-day affair, and it's at Waterville Valley.
Now, if you
That
can guarantee me
looks to be
snow
close to
so I can
3
go
hours
skiing
drive,
at the
possibly,
same
and-
time,
yeah.
I might consider it.
I'm planning on going to the one in Waterville Valley. I'd be more than happy to carpool with anyone who'd like to.
Scott wants to go, and I'm hoping to go. I'm due to be back on Friday night from South Carolina, but hopefully I can.
Which one is that in Waterville? What did they do?
Hold on, it's on the Saturday, but you said you would.
Yeah, but what Saturday is it?
28th?
28th of October.
Well, actually, you know what, I may not be working that Saturday.
We've got 3 different tracks. You can attend track 1, 2, 3, all on the same day. And this is the one that seemed,
Yeah, that's
especially
the
for
one
me,
I-
just
yeah.
getting, breaking my.
Yeah. Well, that's one I would go to, too. 9, well, they're right back to back, aren't they?
Yeah, this is just a full day. And then the other one, the one that I would really be more interested in is the energy one, but that's not what I'm here to try and get spun up on.
Planning topics, no, I don't think I want that. This is the one I would go.
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
8 AM, you gotta be there? Rethink that one.
The night before.
You gotta pay for us to
Get
stay
there at
overnight?
5 o'clock in the
Whoa.
morning.
This is coming out of your account?
No.
Did
Get
you
up
get your
early.
American Express card yet?
I don't think that comes with the job.
I'd like to have a motion to adjourn, if every,
I'll also make that motion to adjourn.
do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? I assume that was an aye.
That was an aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Tardy aye.
When it says title, it's just CBA?
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Very good.
Yes. Diane, I'm just gonna give you this.
Okay.
Should I just hand that in to you?
Yeah, please do, yeah.
I'll stuff it.
Okay, very good.
Stop by now? Oh, I thought you were-
Very nice meeting you.
Oh,
Very nice meeting you.
yeah. She's gonna be good. Clay was good, but she's gonna be good too.
Thank you.
Got a question for you. We're going back and
Bye-bye.
forth. And what I need you to do, if you could, is pull the plaque. Is that what I call it? Plaque, or whatever they call that thing for Russell's servitude down
They never caught up with me.
the waterfront. Is that what they call it when they give condition, when they do approvals?
Oh, the plaque, plaque.
Plaque.
Did you say plaque?
I said plaque. You said plaque.
I don't know what you were, I thought you were talking